What is really good, everybody? What is really good? This is your boy, Mr. Ant-Man 75, and I'm coming at you with a real quick video. This time I'm going to be talking about a little, not necessarily comparison, not necessarily a rant, kind of like a cross in between. And this is going to be talking about Hasbro approach to Marvel Legends and what they've been doing. I basically I do feel like they took Marvel Universe molds, designs, characters from what that line was doing and just upscaled it to Marvel Legends. You know, I mean, it kind of like throws off the whole creativity or whatever. You know, I mean, couldn't you I don't know, I guess. I mean, if fans demanded, it was going to eventually get to this point anyway, but I just felt like it could have been a further progress, you know, if they just went ahead and did stuff like this at the beginning, but they didn't, you know, so this is what we working with. Now, not to say that anything is bad, but I just feel like the guy who was doing these Marvel Universe figures back in the day could have just been the guy doing the Marvel Legends ones as well, you know, because he's no longer with the company. But I feel like a lot of what he did as far as the molds and the designs of the actual figures that he was doing for a 3 3/4, that they just like, oh, we could do this for, you know, the big ones, you know, the Marvel Legends, a 6-inch. So that's what they did. And it's like, okay, you was going to do that, man. You could have just went here and kept my man on the team, you know, because I knew he was going to do it right. And to make it so bad, the guy named was Dave Vonner. He was also, at one point in time, doing stuff for Marvel Legends when they was with Toy Biz. You know, it was just like Hasbro approach at the time. You know, when they got the 6-inch, you know, line, they really didn't know what to do with it. If you go back and look up, you know, the Annihilus wave for Hasbro, and the figure selection, you know, was kind of so-so. The Build-A-Figure was decent, but the actual figures that were being made was such hot garbage. It was another wave. What was it? I think it was a Fantastic Four wave. And yeah, and Ronin was the Build-A-Figure. The Build-A-Figure was decent. Like, it was okay. It will suffice. But the overall character selection, like the characters that they chose and made, whatever molds they used was such garbage. It's a Namor in that wave, like, holy cow. I mean, I wish I had the little savvy to pull up pictures and all that, but man, take my word for it. Go look them up. I mean, the whole design, especially of what they're doing now, you know, this is what they're doing now, you know. Those look hot. You know, I can't argue with the fact that these figures look hot. And if you do upscale the figures, you need to add more stuff. You need to make it look better. I mean, that goes without saying. But, I mean, you could have been doing this at first. You could have been doing this like this when you first came out the gate. But you had to, like, notice what somebody else was doing first. And then come along, like, just take the work that this dude was doing and then upscale it. You know, I mean, because basically, you know, this figure right here, you know, you turn it around, it's the same thing. If you own this figure, you know, and you own this, it's the same thing. He just has a pack on his back. Let's see if I can spin it around. Yeah, it's like a little pack back there. Bring it down. See, it's like a little pack. And that plugs in, you plug that into the wings. But with this, it just plugs right into the wings because most of this in the chest is hollow, and you could do that. You know, it's no problem. But man, I mean, they just blatantly took this one and made it into that. You know, I mean, the whole design and everything. Now, you know, you have the classic Bucky cap with this joint right here. Spin this bad boy around. You got the classic. You know, you can't go wrong with the Bucky cap. You got that mold, and then they put a more shinier paint on it, which looks nice. But, I mean, man, you know, it was like they couldn't. I guess if you got it, you can go ahead and use it. But, I mean, the talent that came up with it, you could have just kept that guy. That guy was doing the thing. And then this, you know, it's the same thing. I mean, they even because this was a mold. This was a mold off of a Ghost Rider figure because he got the little, the little vest flap over or chest thing, whatever the heck that is. I mean, he got it. He got it too. Even though it's more buttons on that one, and I don't think it's any buttons on this one. But this was a mold for a Ghost Rider, and they also used this, the Marvel Legends one, of course, for a Ghost Rider. Then they also use it for Star-Lord. I think that's who it was originally for. But, I mean, they also use this mold for Star-Lord as well. I mean, the ideas and the scope of trying to use stuff and try to like make things better, I think they tried to take a different direction and it just didn't work. The figures was ugly. Didn't nobody like them. It was terrible. So they just blatantly just took that, and that's what that is. And then the same thing here. But I feel like with this figure, they added this little part. They added the belt. They put the belt on to the Marvel Legends one. So, you can use it, or you cannot use it. It's up to you. It's entirely up to you. And just for this review, I took the belt off. But, the helmet on the Universe figure kind of fits better. There's a gap. There's a little gappage. But, not like this dude, man. Even though you got more range, but I don't need range with Juggernaut. I just need his helmet to fit and, put him in a pose where he's hitting somebody. That's about it. That's all I needed. And then they added a little paint down here at the bottom of the boots. Everything looks decent. It's all right, but I feel like far as a line, Marvel Legends would have been so far ahead of the time, instead of us having so many characters of the same character. Like, we got so many Spider-Man, so many Captain America, so many Iron Mans. Iron Man had his own, like, wave. It's just a lot of the same thing. And I feel like, some of these characters, we can get, they just not doing it. They trying to, I don't know. I guess they trying to please all demographics, but for the most part, I feel like if they did this at first, instead of doing what they thought that was right, instead of not listening to the fans at the time when they first got the waves or got the whole line for as Marvel Legends is concerned, we'd be way further along, far as the selections of characters and the selection of actual figures that we have available instead of being it like a regurgitation of the same thing over and over and over and over again. And like we would have different builder figures. I kind of figure like the builder figures would tone down and get smaller. That goes without saying because Toy Biz at some point in time was doing a little bit too much as far as articulation, as far as paint. Sometimes in some instances they were doing too much. But man, I just wish that they was on top of their game when they got a hold of it, because once they got it, you were supposed to be able to have way more than what we have now. I mean, we just not too long ago recently got an Exorbitant Man. We didn't have an Exorbitant Man. We did get one, but it was garbage. And that was part of the Fin Fang Foom wave. That was garbage. I didn't like that at all. And then if it was anything you had to do to it, you had to get it and paint it. And I found out, like with a lot of the Marvel Legends figures, some of them you gotta do some arts and crafts, so you gotta fix it up. It doesn't come out the gate looking good. I never intended this video to be a rant, but it's coming out. It's coming out like a rant because I'm just feeling like, man, we could have been so far ahead. I mean, I'm just now this year about to get a what is that? Captain Marvel or Photon or what's her name? I think her name was Rebecca. I don't know, but it's the black Captain Marvel. Like back in the day when I was first introduced to her, she was in Secret Wars, like back in the 80s. We just now about to get an incarnation of her, but it's not in that classic costume. It's just some new updated stuff. It's a lot of this updated stuff, man. It's like, I don't really dig it, but it's cool and I will still collect it because it's a character and I want it. But, I would prefer some of the stuff that I was getting into back in the 80s, early 90s. a lot of these characters, because a lot of that stuff is influential to what's going on right now. I mean, even in the 70s, a lot of the stuff that they did back there as far as character story, a lot of that is influential to whatever's being caught up in, everybody's being caught up into right now. So I just feel like a lot of that stuff, a lot of those characters need to be touched. I mean, do you realize that we do not have a classic Thor? The Thor with the blue leggings and the boots, you know what I'm saying? The blue spandex part, we don't have that. We don't have a classic Thor. And be quite frankly with you, we do not have a classic, definitive Hulk. We just got a Captain America. This Captain America, like this dude right here, he's decent. He's all right. He's all right. He'll do. His head too big for me, but I mean, he'll do. We do not have a bunch of classic X-Men characters like Colossus, Storm. Holy crap, we do not have a classic Storm. We just now getting a classic Cyclops. You got to get that in the 2-pack. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I feel like they could have been on top of back in the day, but they were so busy trying to do the new and all this other kind of Marvel crap, man. Start with the basics and then work your way on up to the new stuff. And they didn't do that. So, if they started off like this at first, they've been all right. So I feel like they could have just used Dave Varner, the guy who was doing this at first, and then came out with the, have him do all of that. And that's some stuff that we said back in the day. Like, man, we could just have Dave Varner do everything. I mean, I guess Dwight got a hold to it eventually, but, Dwight stalled because he's in charge of the cats who doing all the Marvel Legends now. But, I kind of feel like Dave was on to something, man, and they could have just kept the brother, but it is what it is. They doing the job now, so I can't really knock it, but I can express how I feel about the situation. That's how I feel. So, I just wanted to drop this video. Man, let me know if you feel the same way. If you've been looking at some of your figures, if you collect Marvel Universe back in the day and you looking at the Universe figures that you have now and comparing them to your Marvel Legends, it's like, geez, this is the same thing. And it is. It is blatantly the same thing. Let me know. Holla at your boy. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. And I will be getting back at you guys with maybe another video or hitting you up with the whole you dig from C2E2 here in Chicago. All right, y'all. I'll holler at y'all later. Deuces.